Welcome. This afternoon as we gather, I invite you to pause with me for a moment, if you will. Source of life, as we gather for the formal beginning of another academic year at Juniata College, we humbly pause in these moments. Pause to offer thanksgiving and entrust ourselves to your guiding care. We give thanks for a faculty, administration, and staff that stand ready to share their own process of growth and learning with others. Help us each to remain open to learning even as we teach, and to embrace education as a continuous process of growth for all. We give thanks today as well for a student body that has already begun to be woven together into a new community in this place. May we each have the courage to look into the eyes of those who are new to us and those who may be different from us, and discover the unique wonder and beauty within each one. Lead us as well, we pray, to recognize ourselves as citizens of the world, those who are challenged to be peacemakers and bridge builders. Strengthen our resolve in these moments to make a difference as a result of our education. And today, together, bind us together as we seek to become the community of Juniata College for the year ahead. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you for the applause down in the front row for Professor Bukowski. How about another round of applause for Dr. Bukowski? Thank you very much for all that music. Well, thank you, Dave, and good afternoon, and welcome to this 2017 Convocation, a day in which we officially begin Juniata's 142nd academic year. We also greet this day as we welcome the class of 2021, this group of scholars that have joined us over this past weekend and this past week. Today, we celebrate their choice in us. And after meeting so many of them this past weekend and this morning at Coffee on the Quad, I am confident that we will be enriched by their curiosity, strengthened by their talents, and inspired by their generous spirit. And just wait, faculty and staff who are here with us, wait until you hear them sing the alma mater. Last night, for the first time in 5 years, I heard real energy out of this group. They belted it out. For those of you who were here last night, they sang it well, and we're going to hear it again, aren't we? Yes, we will. So together with these new students, all of us embark on yet another year of tradition. And yes, I've already heard, is tomorrow Mountain Day? Yes, I heard those words spoken on the quad this morning. We like to challenge you and keep you in surprise, but let me just say, tomorrow is not Mountain Day. We're embarking on another year of challenge and opportunity, and most importantly, another year of learning. And we do that learning together. And we cannot do that learning without our distinguished faculty, a group of scholars that are intensely committed to fostering this environment of learning. Please join me, students, in recognizing and thanking the Juniata faculty that are here with us today. Students, as I usually do at this time of year, as we reflect on a new academic year, a new journey for all of you, I take time to think about my own expectations for this new class, this new group of scholars. In addition to what I shared last night, Carpe Diem. Remember that? My thoughts centered primarily around 3 items. First, as a community of educated men and women, it is my sincere hope that you treat one another with simple kindness and respect, compassion, and grace. From our humble beginnings, we have always valued cooperation, peace, and inclusion. attributes that are foundational to the genuine collegiality that we enjoy here. Recent events in Charlottesville will demand this of us. And like a typical family, we will indeed occasionally argue, but at the end of the day, we are here to support one another, lift up one another, love and respect each other for the diversity that each of us bring. Like our founders back in April of 1876, we must believe that there is a greater good that will come from this commitment and service to one another and to this place we now call home. Second, I encourage you, class of 2021, to take the time to walk the campus, and not just walk it, but look around and soak it in. Explore the buildings, read and know the history of this remarkable institution. Let the texture of this place touch you. And while it's probably a bit hard to comprehend in this very first week, you are now part of the narrative of Juniata College. Embrace and appreciate that. You will forever be a part of this place upon your graduation, but the doors to this undergraduate experience, these next 4 years, will close quickly. Earl Kaler, Dr. Earl Kaler, a former professor of history, shared a quote. He said, "The potency of college memories lies in the fact that in those years we made the most memorable decisions of our lives." Carpe diem, class of 2021. Finally, as a community of learners, we are all here to grow intellectually, socially, spiritually, emotionally. But this growth doesn't just happen. You need to feed it, you need to nurture it. It's important that we collectively explore the nuanced connections among the formal learning, our citizenship, and service to our communities. We spoke last night about the liberal arts lifestyle, and you signed that pledge out on the quad that spoke to these meaningful principles. The opportunities to live this out exist right here and every day. Attend the events around campus and in the Huntington community. Theater productions, art exhibits, different religious services, student research, athletic events. Make time to study abroad. You chose a liberal arts environment, and now is the time to extract all that it has to offer. So in concert with our deeply committed faculty and staff, I intend to work with each of you in making your Juniata experience an extraordinary one. Class of 2021, we are your enthusiastic partner over the next 4 years. Your success is what ultimately matters to us. So I wish each of you the very best as you begin your journey, your personalized journey through the doors of this great college. Thank you.
President Troja, members of the Platform Party, faculty, staff, students, and especially students of the class of 2021. I too would like to welcome all of you to this convocation as it signifies the official start of the academic year. And to underscore and echo the sentiments of the President, as well as our remarks from last night, I hope that all of you had a chance to ask some questions today and be challenged to learn something new. And I especially hope that the class of 2021 had affirmed for you today that the knowledge you have already acquired has prepared you. You are now college students, and you are part of this community. Welcome. I have the privilege and honor today to introduce our faculty speaker, Dr. Amy Frazier-Yoder. Dr. Frazier-Yoder, Associate Professor of Spanish, was the recipient of the 2017 Henry H. Class of 57 and Joan R. Gibbel Award for Teaching Excellence. Dr. Frazier-Yoder joined the Juniata College faculty as an instructor in 2009. At Juniata, she brings her love of literature and poetry and prose to an array of classes, including courses on metafiction, Hispanic literature, and even Latin American cuisine. She became an assistant professor at Juniata in 2010 and was promoted to associate professor in 2016. Her scholarly interests similarly focus on metafiction, gender constructs in Hispanic fiction, and the intersection of poetry and popular culture, on which she has published several articles. She earned a bachelor's degree in Spanish and journalism in 1999 from Washington and Lee University. Upon graduation, she was a journalist working at several newspapers in Virginia and North Carolina. Her journalistic skills are readily apparent in her work as a faculty member, as she is a keen listener and observer, and she asks astute questions of her students and her colleagues, which provoke insightful discussions and conversations through which transformative learning takes place. She earned a master's degree in 2004 and a doctorate in 2009 in Spanish literature from the University of Virginia. She began her teaching career as an instructor at UVA from 2008-2009, where she taught Spanish American literature courses and designed a course entitled Spanish for Healthcare Professionals. She's also served several years as an administrator, instructor, and activities director for the University of Virginia's International Language Program in Lima, Peru. She's being recognized today as an exceptional teacher. This excellence is perhaps best demonstrated by this student observation. Amy comes to class every day full of energy and excited to teach. I can tell in every class that Spanish and teaching are her passions because she reflects that daily through her enthusiasm for the material. She finds a way to make class interesting, even if we aren't learning anything interesting. For example, one class we were practicing commands, and we demonstrated these through some of the students making guacamole and the other students telling them the directions by using commands. She used this class activity to make learning the command tense enjoyable and exciting, and it worked. I would tell you that Amy Frazier-Yoder embodies the ethos and the mission and the values of Juniata. Whether it is in the sheer joy of sharing a Juniata Presents performance with her daughter, or in the commitment she shows in joining Juniata students, faculty, and staff in collective action to stand up for her beliefs, or her incredible patience and generosity that she exudes as she coaches a non-native speaker on how to roll an R in Spanish, or in the passion she conveys when she accompanies students on a cultural learning tour in the Dominican Republic. The kindness and dignity and grace that she displays as a teacher and a scholar and a colleague and a human being are just awe-inspiring. We are so very fortunate that Dr. Frazier-Yoder has chosen to be a member of this academic community. Please join me in welcoming the 2017 winner of the Gibbel Award for Distinguished Teaching, Dr. Amy Frazier-Yoder.
President Troja, Platform Party, faculty, staff, friends, please join me in welcoming the class of 2021. Welcome. We are honored to have you here. This first week is about introductions, getting to know one another, and presenting a picture of yourself. So how do we do this? In short form, something like this. Hi, I'm insert name here, and I'm from insert location, and I'm into insert interest. How about you? In long form, we do this through stories about our experiences and actions. Freshmen, I bet you told some stories this week. What you choose to tell one another about yourselves is an act of self-formation. Though you use the term I or insert name here, there is a multiplicity of individuals contained in each one of you. Your personal narratives, even what you tell yourself about yourself, help channel this sense of selfhood. Quick takeaway, make sure the narratives you run in your head are empowering. In this sense, we are characters in the stories we tell about ourselves. But that is looking backwards. Jorge Luis Borges, one of my favorite authors of all time, wrote in his short story, El Jardín de Senderos que se bifurcan, and don't worry, I'm going to put the quote in English, quote, I reflected that everything happens to a man precisely now. Centuries of centuries, and only in the present do things happen, end quote. In the present, we make decisions. We are authors, or at least characters with free will. A genre that attempts to capture the idea of choice and direction setting is the game book, or choose your own adventure story. Trademark, Bantam Books, 1979. Recognize this, right? The premise of these branching path narratives is this. The reader is introduced to a situation told entirely in the second person. The reader must then put him or herself in the place of the character and, in response to questions at key junctures, decide what to do. Do you jump over the castle wall or drink the potion? Do you follow the footprints into the woods or board the spaceship? You get it. So let's try one out. Remember, dear Choose Your Own Adventure audience member, please put yourself in the place of the character of this scenario. In this case, me. You've been asked to give the convocation address. Public speaking is not your strong suit, but it's better to never mention that. You wish to talk about a number of topics without falling into cliches such as buck up under pressure, grit is the key to success, or raise your hand and voice your opinion for the sake of us all, or make sure the narratives you run in your head are empowering. You also wish to impress upon them the significance of their actions, their role in creating a community that lives the ideals of compassion, advocacy, activism, sustainability, hard work, and everyday and academic integrity. With so many choices before you, you opt to present an allegory of action and choice by engaging them as decision makers in a choose your own adventure speech. Members of your audience begin to fidget. Cue. Some have not been paying attention and are being elbowed right now by their neighbors. Perhaps without knowing it, audience members are in possession of symbolic choice cards with which they will vote to decide the direction of your speech. They will vote by either showing blue or gold, colors representative of this college, a lovely liberal arts institution selected by the entire class of 2021 in a previous volume in this series. I think you read it? Yeah? You will then take an eyeball tally to determine the winning choice. Audience members will not contest your eyeball tally. Very important, very important. Okay. You say the following to the audience. Choose your own adventure audience members. You must now put yourselves in the place of the convocation address speaker and make several key decisions for her. Get your cards ready. Please show blue to indicate readiness. That makes me feel good, okay. Now, gold. Okay, now if you don't have a card, look to somebody who does, ask them to rip theirs in half, right? Easy solution, okay? Okay, cards down. Audience members, you will now be presented with two options for your character. Please hold your votes until you've been presented with both options. If, in keeping with the ceremony of the situation, you opt to remain in academic regalia, show blue and hold your votes. If, in celebration of college identity, you opt to don a poorly crafted eagle costume, and I emphasize poorly crafted, please show gold. Now raise your hands and voice your opinions for the sake of us all. Okay, there's so much blue, I can't believe it, but I think that indeed, yes, okay. I had a feeling it might go like this today. Okay, you now begin to awkwardly change into your costume. Awkwardly. This is, right, a little tricky, some buttons and, right, okay, I'll be right back. Thank you, Joe and crew. Thank you. I'm not done yet. Okay. Yeah, you know it. You return to the lectern and look out at the class of 2021, avoiding eye contact with your faculty colleagues. You now share the following testimonial about your experience with Choose Your Own Adventure books. So I loved these books as a kid, and now I read them to my kids. The introduction always said, "Remember, you cannot go back. Think carefully before you make a move. One mistake may be your last, or it may lead to fame and fortune." So the truth is, I often flip back when I came to a bad end, or even saw that I was coming to a bad end. We don't always have that option. For good or bad, many aspects of our stories are not up to us. But what we do within the framework of choice is what defines our character. Having said that, don't underestimate your ability to choose what happens on page 3, even when you're on page 45. Here at Juniata, you get to reread and critically analyze your own pages. As you come to understand your own cultural norms, you can rethink and revise. Self-formation takes place when you reassess attitudes and patterns of behavior that previously went unquestioned. Think about who you are. Unlike the story-altering choices of game books, self-formation is often the product of a series of choices. It's the act of creating patterns of choice, choosing to engage in healthy self-expression, to open channels of communication, to practice self-care, to advocate for others, to seek positive solutions, and to buck up under pressure because grit is the key to success. It's too true not to say it. You pause and look at the audience to assess their interest level. You feel you might be losing their attention. Students in row E and J are visibly beginning to fidget. You need to act quickly. Now hold your vote. If you choose to give the next 20 seconds of your speech in a foreign language, please show your blue card. If you choose to invite a randomly selected mystery guest speaker to give the next 20 seconds of the speech, please show your gold card. All right. Okay, I think that's a gold. I think that's a gold victory. Well, this speech is really for you, class of 2021, about your choices and your voices. You now pull out the roster for the incoming class of 2021. Hey, you chose gold. You chose gold. Yeah, it's coming. It might be you. And scroll through the names. Your audience is really beginning to fidget as you prepare to randomly select a speaker from among them. It is my pleasure to introduce our mystery speaker. Can you give me a minute? Okay, let's see here. Okay, Hannah, I love your names. They're just, Lauren, you're gonna have a tough time with these. Okay, got it. I am partial to F's, Frazier-Yoder. So I'm gonna go with, hope you're out there, Zoe Fischter. Zoe Fischter. Are you out there? Okay, Zoe, would you do me the favor? Come on up. Woo! Give her some props. Zoe, thank you. Okay, thank you for doing this. Okay, come on up. Okay, the lectern is yours for, say, 20 seconds. All right, you got it. Okay.
Awesome.
You got this.
Well, this is a surprise, to say the least. Dr. Frazier-Yoder wasn't going to tell you this, so I'm glad you all brought me to the stage. You see, you didn't hear the full Borges quote she shared earlier. In fact, it was just a fragment. The quote is from The Garden of Forking Paths, one of the inspirations for game books. Here's the full quote. Centuries of centuries, and only in the present do things happen. Countless men in the air, on the face of the earth and the sea, and all that really is happening to me. You see, the narrator protagonist doesn't recognize the universal community that makes up our world. Instead, in Air, he sees only from his own perspective, believing that all of humanity's story points back to him, to his unique experience. Okay, now back to our speaker.
All right. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Yeah. That was amazing. Okay. Well, you returned to the lectern and thanked the speaker. Thank you, Zoe. She handed it to me there with the correcting me on the quote. So next time I'm going to pick David Fasano or maybe, Mizuki Hashimoto. Next, but thank you, Zoe. She's right. If you think it all points back to you, to your story, you might miss your role in a larger story or in someone else's story. Do you reach out to someone in need, blue or gold? Rhetorical, right? Do you step up and intervene when you see that situation at a party, blue or gold? Do you reach out to the kid across the hall, going further into his shell, blue or gold? When it matters, do you speak up, blue or gold? At some junctures, it's easy to become so focused on a one-character perspective. It's easy to neglect to see how crucial the individual can be in moving the collective. Choose your own adventure audience. I urge you to both contemplate and cultivate your role in pushing collective choices in the right direction. I invite you to flip back and review some of humanity's collective choices. A look at consumerism and climate change, inaction and denial despite overwhelming scientific consensus, or a look at systemic racial and gender bias, such as the sort of bigotry and hatred put on naked display in Charlottesville, makes it clear that revisions are needed. So raise your hand and voice your opinion for the sake of us all. Remember that your choices and your voices are part of and can move the collective. That's especially important right now, class of 2021, as you join and create this community. Okay, final choice coming up. To begin the final sequence of this speech, please show blue. To flip back to the beginning of the speech to begin again, please show gold. Yeah. Faculty, of course, had a lot more gold. Jokesters. Okay, I saw a sea of blue. You now begin the final sequence of your speech. If you look, you will find good choices at every turn, and a community willing to give you respect, responsibility, and voice. I wish you the best as you make these reflective choices, and welcome to Juniata. You have already made a marvelous choice. Thank you.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce the President of Student Government, who will also welcome the class of 2021, Catherine Adcock. Catherine is a senior from Upton, Massachusetts, who is in the process of writing an individualized program of emphasis that draws upon history and literature with secondary emphases in linguistics and Spanish, and it is worth noting that her academic advisor is Amy Frazier-Yoder. When looking at colleges at her high school's college fair, Catherine interacted with the parent of a Juniata alum who attended the event to share the family's Juniata story and shared details about the college. This interaction stuck out because it affirmed the interconnectedness of Juniata and the ways that people invest authentically and immersively in one another in this special place. As a sometimes homesick first-year student, Catherine's consideration of a possible transfer was diminished by the support and the outreach she got from that same network of supportive Juniatians, her peers, her professors, the staff, and now as a leader in student government, Catherine has turned that advocacy and support back to her community to help sustain that strength for future generations of Juniata students. To that end, she advises incoming students to reach out and ask for assistance. Whether that's help from friends, she says, or RAs, or faculty or staff, the Juniata community is here for you. Catherine points to international and intercultural experiences on campus, including involvement with the culture clubs and the hosting of events such as Chinese New Year and Japanese dinner as some of her most transformative. Those experiences have shaped lasting and dynamic friendships with students from Japan, Thailand, Ivory Coast, England, and more. These connections, as well as her position as an intensive English program tutor in the Center for International Education, have informed her plan to teach English during a year abroad before moving on to graduate studies. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the 2017-18 President of your student government, Catherine Adcock.
Hello and welcome, class of 2021. Hopefully, your first day of classes went well. Today was the start of your academic journey here at Juniata, but I'm sure for many of you, you're well underway on your personal journeys. These next 4 years will be full of challenges, achievements, joy, and sorrow. I'm here today to remind you, take a deep breath, then take a leap. As Juniata students, we are passionate, opinionated, and involved in many diverse interests. From football players serving on Senate as class treasurers to biochem majors pursuing their artistic talents, Juniata students aren't afraid to pursue all their interests. I hope you'll take the chance to go to Lobster Fest, not just for the lobster, but to sign up for clubs, or even make your own. Go to the Study Abroad Fair. Perhaps try out a short-term abroad experience in Mexico, or the Gambia, or even China. Go to the Japanese dinner and the Chinese Moon Festival. Enjoy Juniata Presents and Juniata Theater. Do something new. These next 4 years are about academics, but they're also about thinking about who you are. How will you evolve because of Juniata? And how will you evolve Juniata? It might seem strange at first, but get to know your professors and advisors. They are really involved in helping you to achieve your goals. Pursue research or internship opportunities. Pursue your interests through independent studies or research for the Liberal Arts Symposium. Whatever it is, just do it. Now, how many of you are either undeclared, exploratory, or considering a couple of ideas for your POE? Okay. That's totally normal. I know that it can be scary, you know, you have to come in and they're telling you to choose something and choose classes, but it's okay if you don't know right now. A lot of you will change and refine, and that's okay. And I know that it's scary right now. Believe me, I know. You're just starting your academic career. You're going to find new experiences and opportunities that will open you up to ideas that perhaps you hadn't considered before. And maybe this won't happen during this year or even your sophomore year. That's okay. I graduate in May, and I still don't have an official title for my individualized POE. And I'll probably be deciding right up until the deadline. It's scary, but I'll make it through. Things will work out, and you all will graduate if you put the work in. But as I implore you to take a leap of faith and get involved and challenge yourselves, I also encourage you to live in the moment. You may not think this way during the first semester or even by the end of the year, but 4 years go by quickly. That's why take a break, smell the roses, go to the hall movie night or club get-together, treat yourself. Binge watch that series, take a nap, whatever you need to do. You can always make your mark tomorrow, but only if you're healthy. And in our stressful, changing world, that includes being mentally healthy. This includes reaching out. Use your networks on campus. Juniata is one big family. Although we can be a bit dysfunctional at times, we are here for you. Senate, counseling services, professors, RAs, peers. I know it's scary to reach out, but the people at Juniata are willing to listen and help. As mentioned, my freshman year, I was stressed and homesick. I didn't want to stay on campus, I wanted to go home. But I was encouraged by friends to reach out. I was met with so much support and encouragement and love that it reminded me that it was my choice in the end, but that Juniata would miss me if I left. I think that if I were anywhere else, I would have dropped out because of lack of support. But Juniata supported me, helping me adjust to college life, to let me take my time. And now I'm president of Senate. So who knows where you'll go with Juniata and the Juniata community helping you. That's why, go for the challenges. Take the classes you've always wanted to. Join a club you've been intrigued by. But don't forget to take time to take care of yourself and relax. Take time to connect with peers, and don't be afraid to ask for help. So next time you're faced with a challenge or the start of a new journey, take a deep breath and take a leap of faith. Even if you fall, Juniata will catch you. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Before concluding opening convocation, I'd like to acknowledge the many people who assisted in preparing for this event. I'd like to thank all of those who are listed on your program for their help and their participation. And of course, I especially want to recognize the Juniata faculty whose dedication and commitment to students define and distinguish this place. After the benediction, the platform party and faculty will recess. Students, I would ask that you please stay in your place until the faculty marshal escorts you out. And now it is my pleasure to call on Evan Brock of our concert choir in the class of 2018, who will lead you in singing the alma mater. After the alma mater, please remain standing for the benediction and the recessional. Evan.
To Juniata College, dear, in praise we raise our song, the place of loyal hearts and cheer which we have loved so long. We love the pathways to and fro, the classrooms and the halls. We'll never forget, though far we go, the days within her walls.
So I have to borrow this great idea. Can I try it out? You know, the possibilities, the opportunities at Juniata that lie ahead of you are many. If you're ready to embrace those, ready to go out into the year ahead, show your blue card. If you're not feeling quite ready, but you're willing to embrace the challenge ahead, show your gold card. Mixed bag. But it's time. It's time to step into this new year and the new possibilities ahead. So as you go, may you go from this place with your minds wide open, willing to be surprised by new ideas and the new possibilities out there. May you go with grateful and compassionate hearts, willing to be touched by both the joy as well as the pain of those that you will encounter in the year ahead. Make sure to hang on to your sense of humor, for it lends perspective and connects us to one another when used gently. And go touched by the divine wisdom to use the explosion of knowledge ahead of you with integrity, with justice, and with a genuine loving concern for all you meet. Amen.